Howdy folks, Fuerv here. You know, I'm having a hell of a time making this video. This must be the 20th take. It's about a topic that I feel strongly enough about that I'm finding myself getting tongue-tied. I don't really know how to express the full depth of my emotion about this topic. It's a topic that I think is very important in our society today, that I think is very divisive, very controversial, and I don't understand why it's divisive and controversial. The topic is gay marriage. It's ridiculous to me that a subset of our population has to endure this, in some cases separate but equal, in other cases not equal at all, sort of status. I think it's preposterous, and it should be obvious that it's preposterous. But the argument seems to go thus.
Marriage is a covenant between two people in the eyes of their God.
If that were solely the case, then why would there be a marriage in the eyes of the state? They use the word marriage, they wield the concept marriage. The state has its hands in marriage. And it is of benefit to society that people be married. It offers stability. There is a certain consistency in the behaviors of couples in terms of the marketplace, in terms of society, in terms of having children and rearing them, in terms of contributions to society, all of that. That stability tends to be offered by marriage. And what does religion have to do with any of that anyway, no matter what religious adherents have to say about the ownership they claim over the concept of marriage? Another argument is that the idea of gay marriage somehow cheapens the concept of marriage. Cheapens the concept of marriage. Let's think about that for a moment, shall we? What is it now? Something like 50% of all marriages end in divorce? That's a lot. That's a lot of marriages that end in divorce, and as a man who is married, I have to say that's very discouraging. I would say that if heterosexual marriage has been thus far the only marriage that we've allowed in our society, and 50% of those marriages end in divorce, then you heterosexual married folks who are out there getting married and getting divorced are doing your level best to cheapen marriage on your own. I resent the notion that gay marriage can cheapen the institution of marriage. I further resent the cheapening of my marriage that is done by the fact that most of you folks out there are getting divorces, that you folks can't hack it. Marriage is not something that just fucking falls from the sky and lands in your lap and opens up and provides you with a life and with a family and with a healthy, happy home. That's not what marriage is, and that's not what marriage is about. If everybody were happy and healthy all the time, we wouldn't need the institution of marriage. Marriage is a decision that you make not just once in front of the altar or in front of a judge. Marriage is a decision that you make every day. Every morning when you get up, every time you go to bed, sometimes every minute of every day. Sometimes you get very angry, sometimes you're very happy, and sometimes vacillating between those two extremes can become burdensome and difficult. And sometimes you feel you want to take a step back and just run away from it, but you can't because you've made the decision, you've made the commitment, and you continue to make the commitment. The rewards of a good marriage are amazing. The love, the support, the adoration, the closeness and the intimacy and all of that. And it all seems very ideal and idealistic from the outside looking in. But from the inside of a marriage, and all of you married folks out there know this, it can be a little messy and gritty and raw. And that's what it's all about. It's about taking that natural human messiness, that animalistic rawness of character that we all possess, and helping each other be humans through all of that tempestuousness that we deal with in ourselves on a daily basis, or on a minute-by-minute basis sometimes. We want to spread happiness. We want to reduce suffering. That is the basis of human morality. those of you who would deny homosexuals the right to marry are acting in support of the suffering of those people, because life is suffering. And suffering is so much worse when someone is all alone. You, because of your twisted, warped moral sense, whether it be religious or I don't know what, your sense of disgust and your sense of entitlement to fiddle with other people's lives, to stand between them and happiness. This is completely immoral. It is promoting suffering. You are promoting suffering. You're in favor of suffering. You're in favor of cruelty if you would deny homosexuals the right to marry. Now, I should make a note here that the word marriage itself, as it differs from the concept of civil unions, that's another debate. That's a semantic debate. I'm not talking here about the notion of civil unions and the sort of separate but equal status that they currently maintain in some parts of our country and in some parts of our society. I'm talking here about the rights and responsibilities that two people have when they decide they want to spend the rest of their lives together in a partnership. Would you really deny someone that happiness? If the answer is yes, then you're promoting suffering. And that is something that is entirely alien to me. That kind of cruelty I cannot abide. And if that is your genuine belief, and if you take action upon the belief that two consenting adults should not be allowed to spend their lives together, and that that decision should not be taken seriously by the establishment, by society, then I'm afraid that, ideologically speaking, we are enemies, because I cannot stand by and watch people be forced to suffer through the harshness of life alone.